Nobody could explain what they were looking at. The vet held the newborn up under the light, and the room went completely silent. "That is not possible," he finally whispered. "Is that a kitten?" "I'm not sure," Vet answered. 2 weeks earlier, Arthur did not even own a cat. It was a Tuesday evening in late February. The air had turned sharp and cold, the kind of cold that bites through your jacket the moment you step outside. Arthur pulled into the Sunoco station on Route 6. He was tired and just wanted gas and to get home. He stepped out of his truck and began fueling. That was when he saw her, a small gray cat pressed against the base of the soda machine, half hidden behind a trash can. Her ears were flat, her eyes were enormous, pale green and glassy with exhaustion. She watched him like she was waiting for something. Arthur crouched down. He reached into the front seat and pulled out the remains of his lunch, half a turkey sandwich. He tore off a small piece and held it out. The cat froze. 1 second, 2, 5. Then she took one careful step forward, then another. She was thin everywhere, ribs showing, fur dull, except for her belly, which was noticeably round. She ate directly from his fingers, slowly, like she was afraid the food might disappear if she moved too fast. "Hey," Arthur said softly. "It is okay. You are safe." She looked up at him, and something passed between them. He could not explain it. It was not dramatic. There were no movie-style strings playing. It was just a tired man and a frightened cat in a parking lot on a cold Tuesday night. He finished fueling, got into the car, and looked in the rearview mirror. She was still there, sitting beside the pump, watching him go. He sat with the engine running for a full 30 seconds. Then he sighed. "All right," he said quietly. "You win." He walked back to the passenger side and opened the door. The cat looked at the open door, then at him, then at the door again. Then she climbed in. Just like that, like she had been waiting for the invitation. Before we continue the story, please take 2 seconds to like and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel grow. And trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next. When he got home, the cat walked through the front door ahead of him, like she already owned the place. He named her Lottie. He did not know why. The name just came to him when he looked at her. The first night at Arthur's house was rough. Lottie hid under the couch and would not come out for anything. Arthur did not push her. He just placed a bowl of water near the edge, a small plate of tuna beside it. At 2 in the morning, he heard the soft crunch of her eating in the dark, and he smiled. By the 3rd day, though, something started to shift. Lottie moved from under the couch to the windowsill. She sat in the afternoon sun, watching the birds. By the end of the first week, he was following him everywhere. The house, which had felt very quiet since Arthur moved in alone 2 years ago, suddenly had sound in it. A purr, soft paws on hardwood, the small sound of a cat rearranging herself in the night. He had not realized how quiet it was before. And then he noticed something he probably should have caught sooner. Lottie's belly was round, very round. He thought back to the night at the gas station. Her body had been thin everywhere except the middle. He had figured she was bloated from hunger, but he was wrong. Lottie was pregnant. Arthur laughed softly when the truth hit him. "Well," he said, rubbing his forehead, "I guess we are expecting." At first, everything seemed perfectly normal. Lottie ate well, slept constantly, and became even more affectionate than before. She followed Arthur everywhere like a little gray shadow. She seemed happy, safe, loved. But after another week, something started to bother him. Her belly kept growing, and not the gradual, gentle swell the articles described. This was fast, almost alarming. Her small gray body looked nearly comical under the weight. Something about it just did not sit right. One evening, his older sister Renee drove over for dinner. She walked through the door, saw Lottie on the couch, and stopped. "Arthur," she said slowly, "are you sure that is normal?" "I think so," he replied. But even he could hear the doubt in his own voice. Renee knelt beside the cat and gently touched her belly. Lottie did not even flinch. Renee's eyebrows climbed high. "She feels like she is carrying a bowling ball in there. This is not right." Arthur waved it off. He told himself the internet said every pregnancy was different. But that night, after Renee left, he sat beside Lottie on the couch and placed his hand on her belly. Something about the situation started to worry him. He called his Uncle Frank the next day. Frank had owned cats his entire life. He had seen dozens of litters born out in his barn. He took one single look at Lottie, and his face changed completely. "That is a big belly for such a small cat," Frank said. His voice carried genuine concern. "Should I take her to a vet?" Arthur asked. "I would, and I would do it soon." Arthur called the nearest clinic. The earliest available slot was 5 days out. He booked it, marked the date on his calendar, and told Lottie everything was going to be just fine. But here was the thing. Lottie did not wait 5 days. 3 nights later, Arthur jolted awake at 1 in the morning. Lottie was not on the bed. He found her in the nesting box, panting hard. Her green eyes were wide and glassy. She was in labor. Right now. Tonight. Arthur's heart was pounding. He grabbed his phone, and his fingers actually shook as he scrolled through contacts. He did not call the vet. The clinic was 40 minutes away in the middle of the night. Instead, he called the one person he trusted who lived close enough to help. Tyler, the veterinary student who lived in the yellow house directly across the street. He had helped deliver calves, puppies, and, once, an entire litter of ferrets during a power outage. Tyler picked up on the second ring. "What is wrong?" "Lottie is in labor. I need you, right now." Tyler arrived in under 4 minutes. He had a small bag with him, towels, gloves, a flashlight. He knelt beside the nesting box. "All right, let us see what we have got." The first kitten arrived quickly. Small, gray, wet. It let out a tiny mew. Perfect. Arthur exhaled for what felt like the first time in an hour. Tyler smiled. "Beautiful. Textbook delivery." 7 minutes later, the second kitten came. Even smaller, a little tabby with faint stripes. Lottie pulled it close to her. 2 healthy kittens. Arthur felt the relief just wash through his entire body. Tyler nodded. "Looks totally normal. She might be done." But Lottie was not done. Her body tensed again. Her breathing turned ragged and fast. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. Tyler checked her again, and this time Arthur caught something in his eyes. A flicker of worry that was not there before. 5 minutes. Then 10. Arthur could not stop pacing the room. Tyler laid out fresh towels. His calm exterior held, but barely. And then Lottie pushed, and the third kitten was born. Tyler lifted it onto the clean towel. And then he froze. His hands just hovered there in the air. He stared down at the newborn. Was all he said. Arthur stepped closer. What is it?" Tyler turned the kitten over gently. And now Arthur saw it too. This kitten was enormous. Compared to the first 2, it looked like it belonged to a completely different animal. Its paws were the size of the other kittens' entire heads. Its fur was already thick and plush. Its tail stretched long and bushy behind it. The kitten opened its mouth and let out a cry, a deep, full-throated sound that filled the room. Arthur just blinked. Is that actually a kitten? Tyler stared at it with this expression caught somewhere between confusion and pure amazement. I honestly do not know. Neither of them slept that night. They watched Lottie nurse all 3 of her babies. The 2 small ones tucked against her belly like they were supposed to. The large one took up as much space as both of them put together. And here was the beautiful thing. Lottie did not seem alarmed at all.
But Arthur could not stop staring at the third kitten. It was not sick. It was not deformed. It was just impossibly, ridiculously big. Like someone snuck a month-old kitten into a newborn litter as some kind of practical joke. By morning, Arthur had made up his mind. He was not waiting for his scheduled appointment. He loaded Lottie and all 3 kittens into a large cardboard box lined with towels and drove straight to the animal care center. The receptionist smiled when he walked in. Then she looked into the box. The smile slid right off her face. "Wait, they were all born at the same time?" "Last night," Arthur said. "All 3 of them."
She called a colleague over, then another, then another. Within minutes, 4 staff members were crowded around this cardboard box. They stared at the giant kitten and whispered. Someone snapped a photo on their phone. "Are you absolutely sure that one is not older?" a technician asked. Arthur felt his patience wearing thin. "I watched it being born, in my bedroom, about 6 hours ago." Finally, the senior veterinarian walked in, Dr. Hayes. 62 years old, gray beard, thick glasses, 35 years of practice under his belt. He approached the table, lifted the giant kitten with both hands, and began a thorough examination. The entire room went quiet. Everyone just watched him. Dr. Hayes set the kitten back down, removed his glasses, cleaned them slowly on his shirt, put them back on. "Well," he said, "I can confirm one thing." Arthur held his breath. "It is definitely a cat." The whole room exhaled. Someone laughed out loud. The tension just shattered. Dr. Hayes chuckled along with them. "Just a very big one." And then he explained something that most people have no idea about. A single litter of kittens can actually have multiple fathers. It is called superfecundation. Different genes, different size potential, different everything. Dr. Hayes pointed to the giant kitten's massive paws, the tufts of fur growing between the toes, the wide-set ears, the thick, almost luxurious coat. "Based on this bone structure and this fur pattern," he said, "the father of this particular kitten was almost certainly a very large breed. My best guess? A Maine Coon." "A Maine Coon?" Arthur repeated. "The largest domestic cat breed. Males regularly hit 25 pounds and more. Their kittens are born larger, they grow faster, and they develop on a completely different timeline." Arthur looked back at the kitten. "So he is going to be huge," Arthur said. Dr. Hayes just smiled. "You have absolutely no idea." Arthur named the giant kitten Leo. It means lion, and the name fit perfectly. Over the next several weeks, the difference between Leo and his siblings became staggering. The 2 small kittens grew at a totally normal pace. They doubled in size, learned to walk, and tumbled over each other in that adorable way kittens do. Perfectly ordinary. Leo was far from ordinary. By 4 weeks, he was triple the size of his siblings. By 8 weeks, he outweighed most adult cats in the neighborhood. His fur grew thick and wild and almost regal. His paws were massive. Arthur's friends could not believe their eyes when they visited. His sister Renee brought her kids over, and they shrieked with delight when Leo lumbered toward them like a small furry tank. "That is not a cat," his nephew announced confidently. "That is a baby bear." Even total strangers took notice. When Arthur posted a photo online of Lottie lying with all 3 kittens, the comments just exploded. People flat out refused to believe they were from the same litter. Someone accused him of faking it. A veterinary student jumped in with a long comment about superfecundation. But behind all the excitement, Arthur faced a real and difficult question. He could not keep all 3 kittens. His house was small. His budget was tight. He loved every one of them. But he knew deep down that they deserved more room, more attention, more than he alone could provide. Finding homes turned out to be both easier and harder than he expected.
His colleague Priya from the job site had been talking about getting a kitten for months. She drove over on a Saturday afternoon, planning to adopt just one.
But when she arrived, the two small kittens were tangled together on the couch, fast asleep, their tiny paws intertwined, their tails curled around each other. Priya watched them for a long, quiet moment. She tried to separate them. The little tabby woke up, looked around confused, and immediately crawled right back to its gray sibling. Priya laughed. "Well, I guess I am taking both of them." Arthur smiled, though the feeling was bittersweet. He watched her drive away, two tiny faces peering through the wire doors. He waved until the car disappeared around the corner. Now only Leo remained, this massive, ridiculous, endlessly lovable kitten. He sat in the middle of the living room like a small, furry boulder, his golden eyes tracking Arthur around the house. He purred so loudly it genuinely sounded like a small engine idling. Arthur loved Leo, but he also knew something important that he had known for weeks. Tyler loved Leo too. Tyler had been part of this story. He helped deliver Leo into the world. He checked on the litter every single day after that. He brought special kitten formula when Lottie struggled to produce enough milk. And here was the thing that really sealed it. Every single time Tyler visited, Leo went straight to him. Every time, without fail. Leo climbed into Tyler's lap, and he followed him all the way to the door when Tyler left. It was so obvious. To everyone. One quiet evening, Arthur finally brought it up. They were both sitting on the front porch. Leo sprawled across Tyler's legs, nearly overflowing off both sides. "He chose you," Arthur said. "You know that, right?" Tyler looked down at Leo. The giant kitten was purring so hard his whole body vibrated. "I have always wanted a big cat," Tyler admitted. "Ever since I was a kid. My grandmother had a Norwegian forest cat, 16 pounds of pure personality. I have wanted one like that my entire life." "Then take him," Arthur said. "He belongs with you." Tyler hesitated. "Are you sure?" "I am sure. Besides, you live right across the street. I will see him every day." Tyler grinned. That next weekend, Leo officially moved across the street. Tyler had prepared everything. A massive cat tree that reached the ceiling, oversized food bowls, a bed actually designed for a medium-sized dog. Leo explored every inch of the new house, sniffed every corner, and immediately claimed the highest perch on the cat tree. He looked out the window, straight at Arthur's house. Tyler laughed. He is already checking on his mom. And this was where the story took a turn that nobody expected. This was where it went from being a sweet adoption tale to something that genuinely took your breath away. Leo did not forget Lottie, not for one single day. The very first morning after his move, Tyler opened the front door to grab the newspaper, and Leo just slipped right past his legs. He walked straight up to Arthur's porch, sat at the door, and let out one meow. Firm, almost commanding. Arthur opened the door. Leo walked in, found Lottie on the windowsill, and sat beside her. They sat together for 20 minutes. Then Leo stood, walked back to the door, meowed once, and headed home. And this became a daily thing. Every single morning, rain, snow, or sunshine, it did not matter. Leo crossed that street. He visited his mother. Sometimes he groomed her, sometimes he simply sat nearby. But it went even further than that. The gifts kept coming after that. A pine cone, a twig shaped like a letter Y, a toy mouse that Tyler recognized from his own house, a sock, nobody knew whose, a bottle cap, and once an entire small branch covered in bright red autumn leaves dragged all the way across the street. Tyler watched all of this unfold from across the street, shaking his head in wonder. "You know what really gets me?" Tyler said to Arthur one afternoon. "Cats are not supposed to do this. They are considered independent, solitary. The textbooks say they do not maintain family bonds after separation." Arthur looked over at Leo. The enormous cat was sprawled beside Lottie on the porch, his giant paw resting gently over her small one. "Well," Arthur said, "maybe nobody told him that." Some animals grow big, some grow small, but the size of a heart, that is something you can only measure in moments like these, in the quiet crossing of a street every morning, in the gift of a golden leaf laid at a mother's feet, in the simple, daily choice to show up and love without anyone ever asking you to. Leo was the kitten everyone questioned. Too large, too strange, too impossible to explain. But he grew into the one who never forgot where he came from. He became living proof that love does not care about size or logic or what any textbook says it should look like. It only cares about showing up every single day. Thank you for watching this story. If this story stayed with you, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps more stories like this one reach the people who need them.